Today, we live in an age that constantly tells us that success comes from having more of everything in our lives. More money, more power, more knowledge, and more connections are often described as the path to becoming truly strong and successful. Modern society celebrates accumulation and expansion as the primary signs of achievement and influence in our global competitive world today. However, about 2,500 years ago, a Chinese philosopher offered a radically different perspective on power and strength. This thinker challenged the dominant assumption that fullness and possession create true influence and meaning in our human lives today. The philosopher was Laozi. He argued that the greatest strength does not arise from filling one's life with possessions. Greatest strength arises from learning how to empty oneself. At first glance, this idea appears paradoxical and even counterintuitive. To the modern mind living in our society. Most people associate emptiness with weakness, yet Laozi insisted that within emptiness lies a profound and truly enduring power. He asked a question that remains deeply relevant today. Why do human beings constantly try to fill their lives? Why does the desire to possess more often create greater anxiety rather than the lasting peace we all seek in life? Laozi's philosophy begins with this fundamental reflection on the nature of human desire and its many complex consequences. Laozi lived during the spring and autumn and warring states periods of ancient China, an era of political fragmentation. Hundreds of competing states struggled for territory, influence, and dominance across the Chinese landscape during those relentless, turbulent times. Rulers sought to expand their power, while generals attempted to build larger armies, and political elites competed for authority. The atmosphere of the time was dominated by ambition, fear, and intense rivalry among individuals and their competing governments. Individuals and governments alike pursued accumulation as the only path to security and success in a world of danger. Yet Laozi observed that the more societies pursued expansion and power, the more instability and conflict they inevitably produced. He questioned the prevailing belief that strength arises from constant acquisition. In his view, the endless desire created suffering. The endless desire to accumulate wealth, status, and control only created deeper divisions among people and more lasting suffering. Human beings became trapped in cycles of competition that only intensified their anxiety and the cycle of constant violence. Laozi therefore proposed an alternative principle for human life and social harmony based on the wisdom of letting go. Instead of endlessly adding more, he suggested learning the wisdom of letting go and trusting the natural flow of life. In this perspective, emptiness becomes the foundation of balance and stability within both individuals and entire modern societies. The core of Laozi's philosophy is preserved in the short yet profound text known to the entire world as the Tao Te Ching. This work presents a series of reflections on nature, leadership, and the principles that govern the harmony of the universe. One of the most famous passages explains the value of emptiness through simple, everyday examples everyone can easily understand. Laozi describes the usefulness of a clay vessel. The vessel is shaped by solid clay, yet the space is empty. The space that truly makes it useful is the empty interior. Without that space, the vessel has no function. A house is constructed with walls and beams, yet people live within the empty rooms that exist inside the house. A wheel is formed by spokes, but its movement depends on the hollow center that allows it to rotate properly. Through these images, Laozi reveals an unexpected insight about value and function. Emptiness is what truly creates purpose for form. What truly enables usefulness is not the material substance alone, but the open space that allows every possibility to exist. Laozi believed that human wisdom follows this principle. When individuals attempt to fill themselves with certainty, their growth becomes limited. When we fill our minds with certainty and rigid ambition, our intellectual and spiritual growth becomes severely limited. However, when the mind remains open and unoccupied, it becomes capable of learning, adapting, and creating entirely new possibilities. Remarkably, the principle of emptiness can also be observed in many aspects of modern life, innovation, and contemporary design. In contemporary design philosophy, simplicity often produces the most powerful experiences. Products that remove unnecessary elements allow users to focus. By eliminating excess complexity, designers reveal clarity and elegance. This dynamic demonstrates that emptiness can function as a strategic resource. Similar principles appear in effective leadership and organizational culture. Leaders who attempt to control every detail often suppress team creativity. However, leaders who leave space for participation and dialogue encourage innovation and collaboration among their empowered and creative individuals. In such environments, individuals feel empowered to contribute new ideas and perspectives. Power grows not through domination, but through openness. Laozi recognized this insight more than 2 millennia ago. His philosophy suggests that true power grows through openness and balance. This dynamic demonstrates that emptiness can function as a strategic resource rather than a weakness for modern leaders in our complex world. The central message of Laozi's teaching is both simple and profound. When people attempt to fill every space with ambition today, when they fill their lives with ambition and possession, they often experience greater tension, restlessness, and a lack of true peace. However, when they allow space within their lives, they discover freedom and resilience. An empty container remains open to new possibilities. Laozi applied this idea to knowledge and personal development. Those who maintain humility and openness continue to grow throughout their entire life. Therefore, Laozi encouraged individuals to cultivate a quiet and receptive mind. Within such openness, the individual can move in perfect harmony. Readers who encounter this philosophy often discover a new perspective on success and fulfillment. Modern culture equates happiness with material achievement. Yet Laozi's insight suggests another path toward a meaningful life. Reducing unnecessary desires can lighten the burdens carried by our human minds. When people release excessive attachment, they gain emotional clarity and calm. Relationships also become much more harmonious when competition diminishes greatly. In this sense, emptiness becomes a practical skill rather than an abstract idea. It allows individuals to navigate complexity with greater flexibility. Emptiness does not represent resignation or defeat. Instead, it creates the space where transformation and creativity can finally emerge in our lives. Laozi expressed this truth through observations. The softest things in the world can overcome the hardest things in our physical world. Water appears gentle, yet over time it shapes mountains and carves deep valleys. Invisible emptiness enables motion, life, and profound transformation today. Water appears gentle, but shapes mountains. Wind cannot be grasped, yet it reshapes landscapes through invisible power. Wind cannot be grasped, yet it moves entire forests and reshapes landscapes. For this reason, Laozi's question continues to resonate in our world. Must strength always come from accumulation and control? Or might the deepest form of power arise from the courage to let go completely? This educational insight was presented by Dr. Jongmoon Ko. Perhaps the strongest person is the one who understands the quiet strength of emptiness. For inquiries or collaboration, please contact James Ko at k90391198@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you. Farewell and peace. Explore more through our related search terms and hashtags. Emptiness is the beginning of everything. Wishing you a wonderful and peaceful day today.